If it was
Yeah.
feeding you, I knew you would do it. Yeah.
Of
I know.
course. Oh my gosh. I'd do that like 10 times over. I'd be going on, we're going to mention overnight trips. I'd be going on the overnight trip. Hi, guys. Welcome to LoveCast, the BL podcast. I'm your host, Kayla, and with me, as always, is my co host, Alexa.
Hi.
Today, we are also joined by our friend and interpreter, Gam. All of you know her at this point, or at least you should. This episode was technically Gam's idea, right? You brought this up to me. You were like, do you want me to come on and talk about just like being a fangirl who is Thai, based in Thailand, kind of like what that experience is like. And I thought that we could also talk about just like basically giving a guide to international fans on how to attend BL, GL, and T-pop events in Thailand. Because I see questions all the time of people being like, how do you even do this? How do you know this is going on? How do you go to this? And honestly, like BL, GL, and T-pop have become like big tourism things in Thailand. People are literally going because they want to kind of fangirl out over that type of stuff. So I think it would be really helpful and interesting to tell people, like step by step, how to do it.
Yeah, I was saying even I've only been to Thailand once, but I have not proper done like an event experience. So I feel like I'm also, we've already talked about we're planning a trip to Thailand at the moment. So I feel like it is good timing for us and for everyone else to kind of get the inside scoop and kind of, understand, I think, a little bit more just about how fan culture works because it's so different in every country.
I think everyone's big question, Gam, is just attending a BL/GL event in Thailand. How do you even go about that as an international fan? Like, how do you find out about an event, first of all, that's going on?
Usually, events are posted by the companies. So there's two ways to find out about events. So the fan base house on X, on the platform X, usually I have the My Bias notification on. So they post it weekly. So they get updates posted weekly. Even if the main, the company isn't posting about it, I still get notification from the fan base house, which usually knows the information beforehand. For the company, it depends. Some, like GMMTV, announce it weekly, or Riser announce it monthly. So it depends
Yeah.
on the company how they announce it. But usually if it's a music festival, it's like 2 or 3 months prior. So it's
Months in
not like
advance.
update
Yeah.
monthly. Yeah. If it was, let's say, Monster Music Fest, I got the announcement that it will be in January without a lineup. But everyone has their speculations that there'll be Lycan, there'll be Proxy, there'll be Dex, like last year. So we're still on the speculation side. So we don't know any confirmation about lineups, but we have to wait until the official announcement, either from Monster Music Fest or the company announce it.
Yeah, you basically have to be, I think, checking socials pretty closely and pretty
Mm-hmm.
regularly, just being tuned into that. And the thing that I personally found kind of frustrating with like the weekly uploads of stuff is that you can't really plan ahead for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to
Yeah.
go on a whim as something is announced. If you want to take a trip to Thailand, you kind of just have to hope that there's going to be events with your faves happening during that time and kind of like use your own
Yeah.
tuition of maybe like what they're promoting then or if they're going to be promoting at all because you really never know when something is going to happen. And then like when it does happen, you have to jump at it. It could be like the next
Yeah.
day.
People open tarot cards just to speculate if there's events. I do have friends who do that. Like I do have friends who live abroad in
Yeah.
China, Japan, who fangirl, and she's like trying to plan her schedule quite right. And there were one time that she had a week off, but she's still thinking if she should come. So she started opening tarot cards if she should come. And it
That's so
was
real.
the week that they had the big concert, which was funny.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it
Mm.
was funny. And
That really
she
worked out.
opened, but she didn't come. because she opened the cards and it said that she wouldn't get tickets, and I'm like,
Oh,
oh, okay.
no, that experience is so true because, like Gam said, like, unless it's a concert where they're selling tickets or a fan con where they're selling tickets ahead of time, or like there's some things you can kind of assume now. Like, for example, a lot of companies do the screenings for like the first episode and a finale. Say Down With You started airing at the end of January and you know you're going to be in Thailand around 3 months from now, you can kind of maybe have an idea that you'll be in Thailand around the time that they'll most likely be having a finale screening. But that was our experience. Like when we went last time, and even as we've started planning this time, like people have been asking, like, what do you plan to do in Thailand? And I'm just like, we will not know until we are there truly, or like a week before we are there. Like you're truly at the whims of sponsors and what's promoting and who's active right now. So that is like kind of the unfortunate side of things. But you know, it lets you live on the edge a little bit.
I might want to add on because you mentioned first episodes and final episodes. This is like a guideline. I can't say this for a lot of companies because I don't really go to some of them. But I have went to Dumandi and GMMTV events before. Well, GMMTV more regularly, I guess now. But for Dumandi, the usually how it works is there will be a first episode. So how when you want to meet the artist, it will be a first episode,
And
an
then they do it
EP
when there's a
7.
when there's
Yeah.
an NC scene. That's when they will do another one. That's the Demundi formula.
Well, it's usually episode 1, episode 7, and the final episode. It depends on the popularity if someone would, sponsor a big event for another fan screening, like how they did with Kendra. But
Kendra
that
had a
has,
lot of them.
yeah,
Mhm.
because True was their sponsor, I guess, and they had a lot. They had multiple, fan screenings. But I went to episode 7. It was okay. Like, I paid extra, for tickets and stuff, but we'll get into that. But we have there's a lot of gap between the artist and me when I went to Demandi,
Mm.
but not as much as GMMTV. Like, I'll have to say this because the high buy, high touch, or the benefit thing, it wasn't as rushed or planned as GMMTV from my experience. And there's for GMMTV, you'll probably see a calendar that they have posted before, a GMMTV calendar, where they have big events that I have mentioned. So the latest one that I went to would be Riser, and it was in the big calendar. And people might have noticed that there's already LL announcement in May. That's the big calendar they usually go through. But for first episode and final episodes, GMMTV has the best benefit session I have ever went to. I didn't expect to see 2 for 2 for that price in the first episode of the screening. It's very hard to get a picture with your bias 2 to 1 if you're a Thai fan. Let me say this because usually they sell it in the international like zone, like the Per Santa Fan Con or at William S Fan Con. We see that a lot now with the benefit sessions, but if you go to a fan con, usually there's 200 people random for 2 to 1. Not like all for international fans who's going to Singapore, Manila, or Vietnam.
That's interesting to hear. Honestly, like a thing that I heard being brought up for the fan day that's happening here in the US is that a lot of people were upset about the price not including seeing both couples.
Yeah, even with the benefits, there's differences too. And I know that kind of stuff depends on like, there's different organizers and stuff for the fan meets and fan cons that happen here. But yeah, it's interesting to hear the differences.
If I have the money, I would probably go to the fan day in the US. It's so worth it. If I would have had the money to buy tickets for Lycan, Bon Pulwin, and William S, I would have went. Like I mentioned before, they're not only open events now. So there are not many open events where you can just go to a mall and you see them like in the area. If it's like GMT or Dumandi, usually there's a lot of top spender events and people pay a ton of money for this. Like I kid you not,
Yeah.
my bias is something.
Yeah, we're gonna get into top spender events because that's definitely something worth talking about.
Because I went through it once. technically I did do a top spender. We'll get into that. It was a good experience. Let me say this. I understood why people pay.
So you kind of mentioned this, but I feel like the difficulty to go to some of these events, whether they're public or private, really depends on how popular the people are. Like if you're going for William S., it's probably going to get a lot more crowded and be a lot more difficult than if you're going for maybe a couple or an actor from a smaller company. So I think that's something that people should keep in mind. Definitely. If you're an international fan and you want to go to like a public event that's maybe just like at the mall or something, what should you expect from the atmosphere? Because it does get very crowded. It gets very hot. You have to be standing for a long period of time. I don't know if it's like what should you expect or like how should you go about preparing yourself to be in that, because it's basically like being at the pit of a concert.
Yeah, it's like an all-day thing. I feel like you have to prepare for.
You have to dedicate all day, in my experience. Like whenever I was in Thailand last, tried to do 2 things in one day, it's impossible. Just solely based on like having to travel from one place to another place. So it really is something that you have to like dedicate a whole day to.
I'm not saying this, for the entire Thailand community of fandoms, but really it depends on how other fans in the community treat you. Like, I'm not going to mention
Yeah.
the ones who treat me badly. I went to events where people that are fans yelled in my face. The bodyguards yelled in my face. It wasn't a good experience. But there were some events that, I can say this, William S. walked around the event just to say goodbye and thank you for everyone for coming, which for me was something I didn't expect to see with other artists in Thailand. When you go to these events, I usually have something called a survival kit. It's very hard. I'll say it's very hard. It's very tiring, but it's fun if you have friends. It's fun to just turn around and just fangirl with friends. It's a whole thing you have to dedicate your whole entire day to if they don't allow having to book seats and stuff. There are some events where you can just tape your name on the floor and you'll be there.
Yeah.
But I have to take them off usually. Or there's some events that they'll ask you to put your name down. In January, I went to Hong Lycan's event. I asked someone to get seats for me, so a friend of mine got seats for me. There were a bulletin board and there were like slots for you to put your name down. And 1 hour before the event starts, you come and you sit in that position. Really, to be honest, it really depends on how, each fandom, each event handles it. I have events that people keep yelling and I couldn't hear anything. It really just depends on the fandom. But I do suggest that you prepare transportation-wise on how you come and go back.
Yeah, I think we'll mention that in relation to concerts later. Okay, the seat reserving thing or like spot reserving thing. You can do that if you're an international fan.
This is a complicated situation right now. It's a controversial conversation as well in Thailand. So there's something we call a seating reservation for services, but it's not accepted in fandom. It's not accepted in multiple fandoms. It's like a proxy, but you ask someone to camp at the mall and run for you to get good seats. But it's not accepted in the community because usually people who do these services tend to be quite aggressive to other fans because they want the best for their clients. They get paid by the hour. So if you hire these services and you're willing to pay a lot, like a whole amount, you have to be very careful on who you hire as well, because sometimes the attitude in these people, they're not fans. They're old people
Right.
trying to find money. Let me put an example. GMM book signing. So it was at Samyang Midtown, the one I went in January, I think, the 20 something January. It's an outdoor space and you're not allowed to put tape on the floor. So what I did was just I pulled my umbrella to the extension but not opening it and just placed it down. I'm like, this is a seat for Lycan, but if you're a Joska Win fan, you can sit and then they have to leave.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot where people will like leave stuff to reserve their spots, and if they can't like put tape or something on the floor. I've seen a lot of photos of just like stands or just like people who have like bags and like umbrellas or something like that just sitting and reserving a spot for an event that's later in the day.
I'll say this, Thailand's very safe. Like, in the fandom
Yeah.
community. Don't be a bit shocked when you see like wallets or bags on the floor, opened up. Like, we don't care. There's money lying around. I have people taping a 20 baht note on the floor. Like I said, it's a very safe country. And people don't really care if you place your stuff down. People wouldn't steal from you. But what I recommend is, if it's that case that you have to put your stuff down and to book a seat, take a photo of it, because there's some people who would just throw it along the side
Like
and just
move it. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm always like fascinated by like the high trust society thing, because that would just never be a thing here. Like, you would get robbed immediately. You leave your wallet somewhere, it's gone forever.
Thailand is very safe. From my perspective, it's not safe, and if it's like, if walking in Soy Cowboy or Chatuchak or like late night strolls and stuff. But if I was at a Starbucks in the middle of nowhere, and or in the mall or in Siam, I can just leave my laptop and I walk to the bathroom.
I guess another question that I know we had whenever we were all in Thailand is, with the events, how early do you think people should show up? Like, is that another thing that kind of depends on the popularity?
Good question, by the way. If it was gangnam, be there on the other, like the 6 p.m.
5 a.m.
The night before.
5 a.m. is still late for gangnam. It depends. If you want to see your artist close up, go at like 4, 5, camp out at the mall, and there'll usually be a line of like people putting their stuff down and stuff. Like, I get good views sometimes if it was Hong or Est. But if it was like Latte Kim, who I'm not like, oh, I'm a big fan of them like that much, but I enjoy just going to their events, I'll usually go an hour before the event starts.
I think that was like kind of the experience that we had, is like when we went in 2023 and we were trying to do the Ponpuan off event. And I think we actually asked you then as well, like, how early do you think we should arrive? And I think we were there at like 9 a.m. for an event that was at like 2 p.m. or maybe even later. It might have been at like 6 p.m. or something like that. I can't remember exactly how late it was in the day. But even getting there like as early as we did, like the line was so long. We were there before the mall opened. I remember that because we were standing outside, but the line was still so long. And then we realized that like you could still get decent views, like standing on different levels, or even like not having lined up that close, like you could still get a decent view. You just weren't necessarily like in that super, super close fan area that I guess is maybe like the most coveted spot for some people.
Usually that's how I like it. Like, if it was Lycan, I'll probably be first 3 rows, because I don't have, at that time I didn't have a phone that zooms quite well. I usually stay, on like the 3rd row or like 4th row, because my friend goes quite early in the morning. Having good friends in a fandom is something that you should have, because sometimes they go, sometimes I go, sometimes I deal with stuff, they deal with stuff, and they do it for
Right.
both of us. Even the book signing event, like, I finished my university lecture at 12 or something, and I just left. I went to the book signing event. It was packed. Like, I couldn't actually see Lycan, and I was so sad at that point, until my friend texted me. It's like, I got you seats.
I think going to these things with a friend really does make the difference. Like, it makes it 10 times more fun. And yeah, you just have someone to talk to instead of just standing there. I had a question about red carpet events for awards shows, because I actually went to one, and that was the one that I cried afterwards. Is a red carpet event, like, that's technically a public event? Like, is there at any point where like they cut off how many people are allowed in? Because the one that I went to took place in like the Cineplex. Like, it took place in the like movie theater area of the mall. There are so many people, so many.
It depends on the venue, and it depends on the organizer. For usually red carpets and award shows, I get invited as press, so I rarely have to fight fans for it. But I do have friends who, fight for these seats, and they come very early in the morning. And sometimes there's something called a form. The latest one I went to, there was a Google form where you have to sign up as quickly as possible. The first 200 people gets to go into the fan zone, but it's very hard for international fans because Thai fans hire proxies and they have bots and a lot of stuff. I went to the latest award show. It was packed. I research about the venue first before deciding to go.
There were actually a lot of international fans there from like other Asian countries. I was getting very frustrated because they were like fighting with the security who was trying to like clear away the whole time for the artists. So that was part of why I didn't have like a great experience, but I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is just like a lot for nothing, I guess." So with red carpet events, I honestly am going to say don't hold out hope. Don't hold out any hope to see anything, to interact with anyone. Honestly, unless you have some special privilege or you're there as like press, I don't really recommend the red carpet events.
It ends very late. Took me, I think there was one award show that I didn't go as press. It was a long time ago. It was still when Omnanon was a thing. Took me almost an hour and a half to get home. Yeah, if there's no fan gathering afterwards, I don't see the point of going usually.
Some other types of public events, we already mentioned the fan screenings. How does an international fan go about buying a ticket to this? Like, is this something where you kind of like need a friend who lives in Thailand?
Really, to be honest, fan screenings, you don't need a friend. You can buy the tickets off GMMTV, but
Yeah, it's like
I'm
usually
gonna
they have
put
like a website or something, right?
usually GMMTV uses Thai Ticket Major,
Yeah, that's
and
the big
then
one.
the other one is All Ticket, but All Ticket's a bit harder to use if you're not Thai. Usually, how I do it is that I hire proxies. I have paid an insane amount of money for proxies. It has gotten to a point where my savings are starting to scream. Riser Music, the Riser concert, the one that happened before, someone offered me a proxy that costs 5,000 baht just for the proxy. LOL, people are speculating that the most expensive ticket would be 6,900. People are starting to, hire good proxies for 10K. So that means you're
It's
paying
crazy.
16,000 for a ticket. But there are cheaper options. I'm saying these are for front seats or in a good event. If you're like me,
Yeah.
I just want the experience. I just want to be up top in Impact Arena, or I just want to be on the top of the movie theater. If it was first Khao Tang, the proxies would have cost 300 to 500. If it was per Santa, maybe 500 to 1,000. So it's not as expensive as people might think it is, especially for first episode and final episode. It depends on the benefit if people want to go. Even I don't like going to first episode. Not gonna lie, I don't see a point in them. I just don't like watching the BL series with other people. But usually I go because of the benefits. How the scheduling works for these first episodes will be the couple sings, or the cast sings the OST first, or the song what they prepared, 1 to 2 songs. The movie starts, and then the benefits. That's it.
Yeah, some people do like that. Like that's a big thing here in the US is like they do concert screenings for like K-pop concerts and stuff like that, and people will like treat it like it's an actual concert, which is a concert screening is different than like the first episode of a TV show. But I guess like especially if you're maybe someone who like doesn't have a lot of like community for that niche interest, it's kind of like a way to experience a little bit of that community.
Alexa, I think you put the part about how. Oh, okay. Well, let's move on to fan signs. Obviously, like that's a big thing that I think a lot of people would like to go to. I don't know how accessible it is for a lot of international fans, but you mentioned, Alexa, that it usually requires some merch purchase. So there's kind of like a threshold
Yeah.
of you have to buy something to get in.
Yeah, to my knowledge, it's like, and Gam, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like you purchase whatever. Like I know GMMTV, sometimes they do it for their actual merch. Sometimes it's like the book signings, like you mentioned. And then there's like a raffle that your name goes into to actually get pulled for the actual signing. But I don't know. I've seen that at least sometimes. I don't know if that's the common experience.
I was traumatized the last time I did this. I think the information you just gave us would be GMMTV based.
That's the ones I've seen the most often
Yeah.
that do like the fan sign type things.
Like these stuff are GMMT merchandises. Usually people purchase them. So book signing happens 3 times this year. We all expect GMM to have 3 fan signs this year. So that would be the Samyan one, which just happened in January. There'll be the I don't remember what it's called. It's like a GMM TV event that they host on their own. And there's another book event this year as well. How you do it is that you buy 500 baht worth of merch. That acquires you 1 ticket. So one chance to win the fan
The
sign.
signing.
People put an insane
A
amount
lot
of
of money to get a lot of tickets, I have to imagine. Yeah.
When I did it, I put 36 tickets and I still didn't get it. People go to temples, they pray, they open tarot cards, they start going to psychics just to see if they will get fan size. And I'm like, wow. There's pre-order online. So GMMTV has this option as well, this is an option I really like. They will announce the date of each fan sign. So Jimmy C might be the first, Mark Boone might be the 2nd of January, and the 3rd might be Lycan. Each day of purchase requires that day of tickets. So if you buy 1,000 baht worth of merch on the 1st, you'll only get Jimmy C tickets. The other thing that JMTV does that I really like is that they do online advanced purchases. So they have this Google form where you have to fill out as quickly as possible. I mean, like 15 seconds you have to fill up. If you get it, you get a chance to buy the merch before the event. And you just go and pick up the stuff and you receive the ticket from there. No long lines, no fussy things going on. Usually I just do advanced purchases and just ignore the walk-in queues and stuff that you have to buy. Usually the first 200 people will have to register in a form, but after that you just do walk-ins, but most of the stuff already sold out. Usually if there's a doll keychain, it will be sold out. Don't have high expectations on that. And the random cards will sold out as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, from my experience, they seem very like it's very much like luck of the draw, obviously. But can you still be like, even if you don't get the actual signing, you can still sit in the audience and watch it, right? Oh, no, you have to have got the signing to. Because I always see like they're like in like a parking lot or something, and then there's just a bunch of fans like on the ground. But those are all people who are
Oh,
actually doing the signing.
so they're not doing the parking lot thing anymore because so many people complain about it.
Oh.
So
Interesting.
if it was a big book signing event like this January Samyan and the one that you always see in the parking lot, it moved to a private room now.
Oh, so that makes a difference. Yeah.
So usually people, it depends on how they announce it usually. So I don't know if this year they might change it because people complain about it. But the problem I had when I won, I'm not gonna say who I won a fan sign of, but I won it once. The big problem is that people yell from the people who didn't get the fan sign. Like people
Right.
keep interrupting you while you talk to the artists. And I think that was the biggest problem because people were like, I paid good money to be here and there's still fans that are interrupting. Usually it's a private room. The only one that I see that it's not like, in a private room would be the GMMTV one, the one I did talk about, the one in Phoenix Patunam. It was a big hall and people yell from under the stage and the fans go on stage for the fan sign. It's like 30 seconds per person. The only thing about GMMTV is that you can't, pull up your phone and just, hi, nice to meet you. You can't,
Yeah,
but you
that's
can
fair.
record voice. But Dumandi is a bit different. Dumandi allows you to do this, but you can't touch the artist. You can high five them, you can
Yeah.
do that. But GMMTV,
Yeah,
you
I've
can't.
seen the Damundi ones, but I've always it's like I feel like I've always felt like the Damundi ones and the GMMTV ones are different. And I know that we're mostly talking about Damundi and GMMTV, but I feel like they're the companies that do like the most fan events that we can go to. But yeah, like the Damundi ones I've always seen as like I can tell that they're like more exclusive and they're like just at this one table with the artist. But yeah, the GMMTV ones are the ones where I've seen more like big crowds and stuff like that. So it's interesting to hear the differences.
So another public event, I guess it's a public event, is busking events. Domundi did this for the next Prince. I think they did it for Kemjira as
They did
well.
it for Kemjira. They did it for Your
Hmm.
Sky. They have one upcoming for Duong with You. But yeah, these are like because I remember the first one I saw was for the Your Sky one, and they were like so blown away by how big of a crowd showed up. And like the ones with Kemjira got huge. There were so many viral moments from the Kemjira busking events. Do other companies besides Damundi do that? I've never heard of any other companies doing like kind of like the public busking. I feel like it's kind of a Damundi thing, but can't confirm that.
I've seen it with like T-pop artists, but I rarely see it with BL actors because
Yeah.
it's so hard to control. I still question to this day that
Yeah,
why
they're
they're
huge
doing
crowds
it.
and they're like in public spaces, so I can imagine it's a lot.
Kendra, there was a ticketing process. It goes by queue, so 100 to the first person in the queue, and the 100 person comes first, and they will get into line. They have this area where they'll be seated, like last time with Kendra. But there's also the part where they ride the cars around the Siam area. That I can just stand on the side of the road and I just see them. I was at Samyan when they had the busking, and I just saw King went like whoomp, and I'm like, was that
Casual.
Paran? And King was like nonchalant about it. He had a sunglasses on, and he was like,
He was in Paran mode.
This next event, birthday gatherings, I don't know anything about them. Like I see people go to them, but I don't know how people get there. So can you explain that?
They're usually planned usually more by the fan clubs, right? Like the official fan
Yeah.
clubs. That's what I see for Oo and Boom. It's
hmm.
usually like the fan clubs are planning and sending out the forms for people to register and taking donations to like put on the event and stuff like that.
Let me say GMM before they change the rules because they do
I know
they're I
they're
think
in hot water about this now. They changed the rules about them.
yeah. So birthday gatherings are something that fans that have low budgeting in fangirling look forward to because it's free. Logically speaking, if you can register for it, it's free. Half of the time, no. Half of the time, I, you know, usually hire proxies and stuff, which usually is better. Birthday gatherings usually happen around the time of the artist's birthday. The fan club official would open for register after the donation reaches its goal. Like Bond, let's give Bond a good mention here because they're Bond and Oo, two fan base houses I really respected, like from this time of year. Oo's event I didn't go to. I didn't register for it, but I saw such good feedback on it, and there were interpreters, there were people. The cake was good. Boom was there. The location was good. Good praises for the fan base house. For Bon, I think the donation reached 1 million baht. Correct me if I'm wrong. I remember seeing 1 mil, and I'm
That's
like,
crazy.
wow, because this is the first time. I think there's some people have done it before, but this is the first time I have seen someone doing a birthday gathering at a concert venue. So before this year, I have seen, fan base houses usually if you can register for it, you can go in. No matter if you have donated or not donated before, you can just go in. But you have to register for it. You have to have a name.
Hmm.
But now there are new rules upon it, which that if you didn't do the donations and you don't have the payment slip to confirm that, you can't register for it because they ask for
Oh,
evidence.
it sucks.
I think it's a good thing that they're doing that because it's fair for the people who donated and like I want to be there, but I couldn't register for it because someone just swoop in and decided, oh, I registered for it, but I didn't donate. Along the topics of canceling birthday events, is that from what I understand now, from what the Thai fan base house are announcing, is that if you started the process of asking GMMTV before a certain week from last year, you'll be able to do the fan gathering events. But if you decided to start taking initiative now in January, you will be denied.
Yeah, I just saw a lot of fans talking about like why are some artists getting to go forward while others are not. But yeah, if it was about starting the initiative at a certain date, I guess that makes sense then.
It's hard to say. I haven't been to a birthday event in a while because I just didn't have time to, register, donate, go to the event, have time, have fun at the event. I didn't have that kind of experience, especially even with Hong. My bias, I didn't have time to do that kind of stuff. But from what I heard and from my very long ago experience, was a fun thing to do. It was something that I look forward to every year when I was still fangirling Beyond Cloud or even GMMTV back then.
It seems like it's on the more like laid back side of events.
Yeah, especially, I mean, at least when it was free to register for, I feel like that's, like you said, it's good for fans who can't really afford to pay for proxies or buy tickets to certain events or stuff like that. So it sucks that, like, it seems like there's less and less ways to see artists for free.
Which leads us into top spender events, which we mentioned a lot.
Yeah.
Gam's already done. She's already done. I'm not going to say among all international fans, but I feel like there is a general consensus with international fans that they don't like top spender events because it is like such a private thing that you have to spend a lot of money on. So there's already the financial threshold of you kind of have to be rich to do it. And a lot of people don't really see it as helping the artists in their careers, like helping them to grow or anything. So how do Thai fans like view top spender events? Is it in a similar way?
Depends. I
Depends.
say the word depends. If the artist is getting the same amount of like the money they spend on these top spender event, it's something worth it. Bond's event reached 200, 300K, I think. It's the same worth that you going to a fan con in another country. That's why so many people want to be an international fan who's based in another country where GMMTV is coming. Like in, as an example, the one-to-one photo in Europe, you can't get that in a concert here. It's either top spender or you have to have an insane luck.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's like more economical almost to try and go to another country and get a one-to-one photo versus like trying to spend enough money to get like the top 20 slots at a top spender event or something.
From my experience, I enjoy the top spender. Like, if I was rich, I would probably go to every single one of them, but that's not possible.
Same.
Yeah.
I went to Latte Kim. The slot wasn't full. And if I buy one single item, which is 3,000 baht, they'll give me seats. And the benefit wasn't bad.
Yeah, like you said, I think it's a thing that depends. I feel like one thing that I've seen is that like because for certain artists there's such like a high monetary threshold you need to be able to pay to even be considered. Like it's usually the same people who are able to afford to pay for top spender events. So like you're seeing the same person over and over and things like that. So yeah, I guess it's just kind of like that what Kayla mentioned, like it feels very like exclusionary, I guess, at times. But yeah, I mean, there definitely are like I've seen that for Ooh and Boom as well, who are comparatively like a smaller couple. They just became like official. That there are times when like the slots for their top spender events aren't filled. So it's probably more accessible for someone to buy like one or two of the items and get in. The other thing I've seen is that a lot of people complain that some of the brands, I'm not going to say specific ones, that they do top spender events for are like kind of shady, and that they want the companies to be more selective with like the brands that they're doing top spender events for and making sure like the products are reputable and stuff, especially if all they're going to be doing is like top spender events, at least making sure like the brands they're doing them for are respectable, good brands and not like, you know, on the shady side.
Like, you know, if it was a product I have to buy and stuff, that's fine with me. But I don't like events where you pay 39K just for, you know, one price. Like it's like I don't like the fact that people are paying over 15K for, you know, seats or like tickets and stuff, because it's not normal. It's not meant for Thai people. You know, minimum wage is 300 here. It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, just for me, whenever I see top spender events, it's always just the fan sites. It's maybe like the top 3 most popular fan sites of the person are there. And then maybe like international fans from China.
Just to clarify, don't go asking people how much they put into these events, because sometimes that's a bit rude on the top spender side of
that would
like
be a weird
people
thing to
keep
do.
that a secret, because if someone knows that, oh, this is the amount they went for it, I'll go for this amount next time. More competitors going into the top spender, they feel that it's a bit uneasy for them. If it was you, I knew you would do it.
Of course. Oh my gosh. I'd do that like 10 times over. I'd be going on, we're going to mention overnight trips. I'd be going on the overnight trip. Overnight trips with actors. This is also a private event, and I'm guessing
like
there's a threshold, where you buy stuff to get in.
Yeah, I think these are interesting. This is just my personal opinion. I feel like I I don't know if breeds is the right word, but I feel like it fosters a relationship of fans having more access to the artist than they should. If they're going, obviously, like they keep, yeah, parasocial, it kind of like builds up more of that parasocial relationship. Like, obviously, when they're going on these trips, they keep boundaries and there are separations from the artists and the fans and the different activities. And I'm sure there's time cutoffs for when they're doing group activities. But just like the idea of like, I'm going on an overnight brand trip with an actor I'm a fan of, I feel like just that alone is kind of like taking the parasocial relationship to like such another level of like, I don't know. That's just my personal feelings about it. I'm not shaming anyone who has done them before, but that's just kind of how when I see them, like my first thought is like, oh, that's it. It's a very interesting, like, I don't know. I don't know how to word what I'm saying about it.
The overnight trips, I'd never personally been to one, but I have friends who went to one. Gemini 4th in Japan. It's well organized, let me say this. It's well organized, it's well done, everything was planned quite perfectly. The artists were fine, people have their own spaces. If it's someone who's so close to the artist, especially a fan who always been to events, they know their boundaries on where they can go and not to go. In the past, there were some experience that fans just were treated by the brand like horribly. There was a Japan trip that was very bad once, I think. You probably seen on you've probably seen on social media, but it depends on the brand. If it was like, the one that took Gemini 4th or the one that took Sky Nani, go. It's worth it. Because the benefits in these overnight like kind of thing are the same as top spender, but you just have more time to spend with the artists. But I just don't like the fact that it destroys the boundary of, an actor and a fan, which I feel like is a
Yeah.
safety concern.
That's kind of my feelings about it as well. Yeah.
It's like one of those things where I think I'd like to experience it at least once to kind of get the vibe. But yeah, it is a very like up close and personal thing compared to all the other events. I don't know. I feel like I would feel very awkward. Like
Yeah,
I'm not supposed to be
definitely.
there. Like I'm intruding.
My
Yeah.
friend said that when they went to see Nunu, I think once, they said that it felt like I was intruding on their date.
Exactly. Like it really, I mean, depending on like, I guess if you're there for a pairing, depending on how much fan service they do, it's literally just like, I imagine like sitting with a group of maybe like 5 people off in the corner and we're all just like spying on this couple across the way. Like it
Taking
just feels like
videos.
yeah, it just feels like I'm spying, but like we're allowed to spy. Like we paid to spy.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. But yeah, I do agree that it could be a safety concern. I think that something like that you need to have it be really boundary heavy and organized for it to not be a disaster, because that could really become a disaster. I feel like now, Gam, because you're in your riser era as well. You're in the area wherever they are. But attending a concert in Thailand, I want to know how to go about that with like buying tickets and everything. And it's not just like for T-pop groups, like couples or like shows do concerts as well. How do you do it? How does that differ from like going to a fan sign or something like that?
I keep saying depends, but
It does. It depends.
yeah. So I'm saying this for the LOL fans, I guess, and Love Teacher. I'm gonna guess Love Teacher will have the same thing as this, or maybe Jungdang fan clubs or Force Book that are coming for the fan con. Let's start with Impact Arena first. Impact Arena is huge, is very huge, and it will be hosting the 5th LOL, if I remember correctly. Impact Arena is an artist's usually top dream. I can confirm that. Impact Arena is not easy to get books for. So I went to Riser 14th of February, Valentine's Day, but usually if you're going multiple days, I'm gonna guess that for LOL, a lot of fans are flying in to go to both days in May. I'm gonna guess that you're gonna find a hotel in the city. That I don't recommend if you're going 2 days. I recommend you getting a hotel there. Yeah, either in a close area or somewhere in the area. Impact Arena is midwhere. I don't know, like in the middle of nowhere. You have to be careful how you transport yourself to the venue as well. And I recommend you checking the calendar times, because if the benefit ends, the concert starts right away. For GMMTV, they don't have high buy in Impact Arena venue because it's so hard to control. They only have group photo and sound check. Impact Arena, the best transportation is usually by car, Grab, motorcycles, but they do have a train, but it's a different side. It's the pink line, so it doesn't go through Siam. You have to ride the Siam one to Wat Pasi Mahalat, and that will get you onto the pink line, which is like an hour transportation, time wasted already. But I recommend, if you're going to LOL, go very early. The other venue I will mention is Union Mall. I know it's been a popular venue for both Zumandi and GMMTV, especially the fan cons and Duong With You. It's big but small compared to Impact Arena. Union Mall is close to a BTS line as well, but usually for me to get home, the BTS would have been closed. The BTS usually close at 11:30. Concerts usually end at 11. So the half-hour limit thing is something that I don't usually risk with. I usually just call it Grab home. I live near the airport, so that's like a 30-minute, 40-minute if there's no traffic. That costs usually 200 300 baht. So I would probably say pull out 600 baht worth of like transportation fee if you're still deciding you want to stay in the city for a few days and don't want to stay near the venue.
Do you think that like when international fans who don't speak Thai are coming to like events and they're needing to like navigate these spaces, do you think like a language barrier is something that they should be worried about?
Yes. I'm straight
Agreed.
up saying this. Yes. Because I think Kayla and I can say this because we've been to events together before. And you've been to events on your own as well, which was different from when you went with me. Thai fans like each other. They do not like international fans. Take that this is the perspective that I heard from someone saying to me. This is not my perspective, guys. Don't come for me. I have people said to me that international fans wants to come into the country and steal the moments they want with the artist from them. Per Santa, international fans were in the concert venue a lot, but then the realization is that, oh, you're in a concert venue where there's only Thai, so you don't belong here. You can go back to Singapore and they'll go to you anyways. So why are you here in Thailand? That's some perspective that some fans do have, but for me, I think it's more of like, I like Percenta, so I'll be here. Like
Yeah.
I have the money for it, so I'll be there. That's usually how I view it. Like, it's their personal choice to be here or not be here, but I just sometimes international fans, when they don't know how the cultural stuff works, it's frustrating for us to like view it from the outside. Like,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they think they can just hold out their hand, they can scream, they can yell, but that's not something Thai fans do.
Yeah, that was actually one of the questions I had, if there's any common like concert or event etiquette. Like, I know, for example, in the US, like at concerts, fans are kind of encouraged to get up and dance and like jump around during the concert within reason. Like, don't jump into somebody's space, but people dance, they move around during concerts. But I know there are other places, like I've had friends talk to me about like going to concerts in South Korea where like fans are a lot more subdued, and they aren't like screaming through the whole concert, and they stick to doing like the fan chants and things like that. So I was curious about like, is there any like etiquette that fans really need to be aware of in terms of like things like interacting with other fans or interacting with the artists during events and stuff like that?
I think that the only problem, even for Riser, I had this problem. The person in front of me kept blocking my view.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you might have seen in the footage I've sent to you, I there's always a head or something that's blocking the way,
Mm-hmm.
and they kept moving. And it
Yeah.
frustrates me sometimes. I know in the
That's
US,
an issue everywhere too. People sometimes record an entire concert and their just phone is in your shot the whole time or something like that.
Thai fans, there's two ways to think about it. In Thai culture, one is that Oh, I have to respect the people around me. I can't just hold up my phone like this the entire time the concert's going. You can't raise your phone above your head. You can't stretch your feet, like, the respect of, having for in a concert and stuff. You can't yell, you can't scream, you can't keep singing. There's a lot of, drama going on TikTok as well about that. Like for Riser, the person next to me kept singing and I can't hear anything the boys are saying. The other way I thought about it is that I paid the same amount of money to be here, so why can't I do this?
Mm-hmm.
But it's more of like you have to respect the people around you. That's something I always be careful of. Even in concert riser, someone I know wore like a beanie with the top thing on. The fans behind them started to be like, even for riser, I see that there's Chinese fans all around. I have seen fights breaking out in concerts where they went, you can't do that. You can't, like, freaking grabbing each other's hair, like that happens multiple times before.
Oh my goodness.
So I really have to indulge. Be careful.
I think a lot of these things are universal, honestly,
Yeah.
because like I've been to a lot of concerts for like a lot of different genres of music. I mean, I've witnessed fights. This is something that came up whenever I was last in Thailand because I was very curious about it. But renting phones for events, people do this.
I love this conversation. Renting phones is something I love to do, especially before I had like bad phone camera. I have wasted so much money renting phones. It's so concerning. I tend to be a bit in the back near the executive seating because I want to see who's the guest who came to watch the concerts. Like me and T. I think a lot of your viewers have seen the me and T footage I gave you for, for the social medias and stuff. That is from a Samsung S25, and the footage from Riser, I think you guys have seen on my Instagram stories. That was from Vivo X300 Pro. It ranges from 500 to 1,500 for a one-time experience where you're going to a concert on your own and you want a video that you filmed on your own of your bias. I really recommend you renting one because it's so worth it. There are some service, like, not renting phones that don't accept international fans, but they will mention it in the bio of the phone renting service. But usually I do. So when the event ticketing finishes, stores will start to open for, booking services. So you probably pay a deposit and you'll probably have they'll probably ask for your identification, passports. On the event venue day, they'll probably text you and say, "Where are you? I'm here. Do you want to come pick up your phone?" You pick up your phone with them, sign a contract, pay the rest of the money that you still owe them, and then after the event ends, you go return the phone to them. For me, it's so worth it just because you get good videos. You really get good videos. Even where my friends were sitting up top in the Impact Arena, they still got good photos because they rented a good phone.
I'm so on board with renting phones. Like I really wanted to do it, but that the one company that you had showed me, they only do specific events. So like around the time that I was in Thailand, they were only renting phones for NCT Dream because they
Oh,
were there for their
Mm.
concert.
maybe this time you guys come to Thailand, I rent a phone for you to try out.
This is another question that is just like a personal question of mine because I always wonder it. Do you think that fan sites get like special privileges at events?
I've been a fan site before. I feel like they do get special privileges, but it does come with the high stake of, like, being busy all the time. Just updating the artist's, story updates is already tiring enough.
Mm.
Just give
Yeah.
me the special treatment. That's my opinion on it. Like, they deserve the special treatment. And they work harder than every single one in the fandom. So I don't see the problem of them having, a little bit of fun meeting the artist before us.
I kind of tend to agree with that because at a certain point, when you're like a big fan site, you're basically like a media company.
Because fans have to understand that this is this is not a job. You don't get paid for this, and
Yeah.
except you,
You're doing the amount of
yeah,
work that a job requires, though. Yeah.
you're doing that, and you're also doing your full time job plus the fan service
Yeah.
to the fan base. It's so hard, and I've really, to be honest, I think they should be special treatment. If the company wouldn't give it to them, just please give it to them. Like, it's so tiring. It's actually so tiring when I did it. I understood them, but I do understand why fans would be angry because they're also fans, and why do they get special treatments? I do understand that fact as well, but sometimes it's just like, just give it to them. Just if they want to, just give it to them. 'Cause I feel so bad sometimes seeing, like, in fan base houses, some of them, they went to concerts, they film each one, and they pull the videos and post it right away, which is so, like, I have very good
Yeah, it's like you don't even really get to enjoy
anything.
the
Yeah,
event or the concert, like, because you're thinking about getting footage and posting the photos and
yeah.
editing and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything else that you can think of, Alexa? Any questions you had?
While we were talking, I kind of became, because I remembered an experience that we had while we were in Thailand. We've mentioned a couple times the fan gatherings that will happen like after like a scheduled event or something where the artist just comes out and greets the fans. I remembered that when we went to Jod fairs with Pan and Fluke had to leave like before we did our outro for our content because the fans had set up a fan gathering at Jod fairs. So I just thought, I think it's like that is something that like we did not promote that meeting before like we did that content with him, but like the fan sites like found out we were creating content that day and organized an impromptu fan gathering like within the day that we were doing content with Pan and Fluke. So I just think it's like such an interesting, and I don't know if that was just like a particular experience for his fandom because it's very different than like maybe Pond Puin's fandom or something like that, but I just think it's such an interesting, like, and you see a lot of the times like after like certain events, like all the fans of GMMTV will gather in a certain place and the artists will come out and say hi and take like a big group photo and things like that. So I don't know if I really have a question about it, but I just, since we mentioned it a couple times, was thinking about how we had that experience. And I remember like us being like, oh, where's Fluke? And Pam's like, oh, his fans set up a fan gathering, so he went to go say hi. And we're like, oh, okay. Like, it was just such an interesting experience.
Fan gatherings have changed a bit during your time here in Thailand.
Fair enough.
So big fandoms usually announce the fan gathering in their schedule. It depends on where, and how they talk about it. Especially now, they kind of have a bigger fandom. Like Jimmy C just had a fan gathering. Bon Puin also had a fan gathering in Central Road, which
That one was fucking huge. I saw the clips and photos from
I
that. It
was
was
like,
insane.
I was on the top floor of Central Road that I looked down. I was like, is there like
It
a
was
protest or something? Like,
insane.
oh
Literally.
wow.
Nope, it's just Bon and Puin. Their power is crazy. Like, it's wild to me.
The
But yeah.
Puin and Bond and Riser concert definitely was interesting to watch. Because I watched Me and T, the after party, and I watched Me and T with my family as well. My mom watched BL for the first time with Me and T. It was funny as she laughed the entire time, but it was so funny.
It's the impact of Me and T.
Yeah.
It's that powerful.
Really, to be honest, for fan gatherings now it's a bit different. They have to set up a time where you can get into fan gathering spots and people run to get the front seats because you get good views for that. There's also a thing now. Usually when fan gatherings, people just shout out questions, but now they have a box where you can drop your questions in, and the artist just draws one out. The person who started it was probably Yin War or William S. I think that started doing the lucky draw of the questions out, and it was so fun. You don't have to like, oh, what's this, like yelling across the room doing that. I don't like doing that as well, so I usually just stay quiet.
Well, I feel like we covered a lot. I mean, we've been talking for almost 2 hours, which honestly feels kind of short for us. I guess that's it for this episode. Thank you, Gam, for walking us through the process of attending events and everything that comes along with it. I think if you guys have any additional questions, just leave it in the comments and we'll try to answer them. We'll ask Gam if she knows. So yes, because I'm sure there is something something that we forgot to talk about. If you found this episode interesting and helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. And while you're at it, share the episode with your friends. It all really helps us out. Make sure to check out our Patreon for early access to episodes and reviews and a lot of other exclusive content. Again, we're going to Thailand in June, so there's going to be a lot of exclusive content from that. That's all we have for you guys today. So until next time, bye.
Bye bye.